I'm once again joined by the Vice President of the CPCA, Greg Buchanan. He is here today to talk to us about the CPCA action that will be taking place at the Poundmaker Cree Nation this weekend. And so thank you so much for being with me today, Greg.
Thanks for having me on tonight, Thomas.
All right, Greg, so let's start with the action that took place last weekend at Frog Lake. Talk to me about those races and the shakeup in the standings that took place because of them.
A shake-up, a hometown guy by the name of Preston Faithful ends up winning that dash. Luke Tournier was lights out for most of that show. Won the aggregate, just didn't come through in the dash. So a bit of a shake-up. Preston Faithful was knocking on the door for that top four, but quickly that changes. Even after the first night in Poundmaker, he's no longer on that knocking on the door for the fourth spot. He slipped a little bit in the standing. So everything can kind of change on a given night, and it has even here in Poundmaker. But again, a pretty solid show for Preston Faithful on his hometown track to win the Dash for Cash. And he's been in that Dash for Cash in the past. This time he finally wins it.
And so looking at the standings now, Logan Gorst is leading in first place. Then we've got Luke Tournier, who's had a really good run in July, moving up into second place. Danny Ringette takes the third place, and they've all got quite a lead on the guys below them. And so they're in those coveted top three, and the top four spots is what all the drivers are looking to have. Is there any importance to being in the top higher spots of the top four, or are guys just looking to be in those top four placings?
You want to be in that Final Four, no doubt about it. At the same time, more than anything, you have 5 days here in Poundmaker, 3 days in Little Pine, and keep in mind there's 4 days at the new Lloydminster Nissan CPCA Finals, and those 4 days will determine who will be the Final Four for that championship dash on Championship Sunday in Lloydminster. So you want to be at least close to where you want to be. If you're outside the top four, you got to be within distance of about 4 days of racing to move up the Final Four spot. So tonight here in Poundmaker, as well as throughout the Poundmaker show in Little Pine, really sets you up for that big show in Lloydminster.
And so it's a very close race for that coveted Final Four spot. DJ King only has a half-point lead over Dallas Dick for the top spot right now. So tell me how important these races are to grab every single point that they can get in order to have that coveted Final Four spot, as well as just how important those final few races will be at the CPCA Finals.
So a couple of things come into play. You want to be fast, but more than anything, you got to be clean. They always say if you're consistent and you're clean, the fast thing will take care of itself. So more than anything, you got to stay away from the penalties. Penalties can be very, can kind of, what do you in the standing. So for DJ King, solid run for him last night, wins the day money. That is what he needs to do. At the same time, it's interesting because the drivers that he is competing for to get in that Final Four spot are in the same heat with him. So he doesn't have to look too far on the track to see if Dallas Dick is right there. So that is the interesting thing. And you never want to think that drivers are kind of looking over, whoever's coming off out of their barrel and how they're turning and how quick they are popping out of the infield. Then all of a sudden, if you take your eye off your outfit and you're looking at somebody else's, bad things can happen.
And so now let's talk about the first 2 days at Poundmaker finally. DJ King won the day money yesterday. Logan Gorst won the day money on the first day. Talk to me about how well those guys have been doing so far in the races, and any other guys that are really looking good right now on Poundmaker.
For Logan Gorst, he wins the day money on on Wednesday. DJ King wins it on Thursday, and Logan Gorst was second fastest on Thursday. So he's been knocking on the door for a day money win. And not that far behind Logan Gorst, on the track at least, was Luke Tournier. Luke Tournier, though, takes a penalty on Wednesday. Luke Tournier takes a penalty on Thursday. So Luke Tournier, who has been tearing it up in the month of July, again, go back to that part where you want to stay away from penalties. And it's, Luke Tournier's had a couple of penalties, which is rare for him in the month of July. But you know what? That's a great thing at chuckwagon racing. You have to have a short memory because you're back at it again here tonight.
Thank you so much for all the information, Greg, and we will definitely be talking to you again as it's the final stretch of the CPCA season, and it's going to be a really fun one as we lead up to the new Lloydminster Nissan Finals here in Lloydminster.
Thanks a lot, Thomas.